Alrighty, my friends, fasten your seatbelts because this one has been a long time coming. And for those that read the newsletter before this on the same topic, understand that it is possibly better than sex. So if you're ready for a video that is better than sex, buckle in. One of my favorite failed businesses was creating digital art with Photoshop. And you can see here that this is one of my favorite pieces. I have a bunch, and if you want to see any of them, you can scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram. And this was the first time I realized the power of social media in building a business, but I didn't realize that I was building a business at that time. And so I emulated how larger accounts grew their following by tagging community pages that shared digital art, creating the best composites I could so they would get shared, and remixing photographers' images in hopes that they would share my content. And this is kind of like mentioning a large account in a Twitter thread so that they retweet to their audience, or it's like tagging someone in an Instagram post based on an idea that they gave you so that they share it to their story, and then boom, you have eyes on your content and you're gaining a following. That's one of many like social media growth strategies. And so this was almost 5 years ago now. It was in 2017. So I think 5, so bad at math, but but that's when I first grew to 2,500 followers on Instagram. And so after locking myself in my room, learning how to use Photoshop, forgetting to eat most days when I'm sitting there creating these little pieces of art, I gave up. I loved to create, but I had no idea how to monetize. And my art was valuable, but it wasn't valuable enough to demand payment. Other people didn't perceive it that valuable. And so I realized that I couldn't sustain that lifestyle as an artist. And I felt like I had to learn a more profitable skill in order to start freelancing with that, and then slowly build up from there and just have art as a side hobby. But of course, I was an idiot, and if I could go back and change things, I would. And if I knew what I knew now, I would probably still be doing that Photoshop art. But I do love writing a bit more now. I believe that the universe conspired in my favor, and I ended up finding something that I truly enjoy. But if I were to go back, I would continue growing and realize my audience as a traffic source. And I'd create a product or service to send that traffic to, so courses and coaching in this case. And someone who did this well that I didn't really see anything, I bought a course from this guy called Visuals of Julius, and that's how I learned to do this. And so it didn't register in my mind like, hey, I bought this course, why don't I create my own? Just show people how I made the favorite piece that I showed you in the screenshot earlier, and that alone would probably build a sustainable income for myself just by promoting that through my audience that is continuing to grow. And then the next thing is that I'd learned copywriting, marketing, and offer creation to position my product in the market. And then I would partner with personal development creators to visualize their best ideas and become an authority in that space. So in other words, I do everything that we talk about in the One Person Business Model series. And so the skills that I learned through these failed business models like Photoshop and others, they created who I am today. So I use Photoshop in my own thumbnails. I create my own thumbnails. I create my own Instagram designs. I create my own website. I create everything because I learned that skill and tried to create a business out of it until I finally stumbled upon being a creator. And so I started from that point of leverage. But aside from all of those skills, there is one skill that is responsible for 95% of the results of my business success. And it has contributed the most to my brand, sales, content, and just revenue growth over the past 3 to 4 years. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I call this skill value creation. Do what you love, but study psychology, marketing, and sales so you don't become a starving artist. Every money-making skill that people tell you to learn is linked with universal patterns and human psychology. And yes, I'm getting spiritual here. Universal patterns, that's what everything is built from. The essence of being is how knowledge was constructed. Knowledge is second order, being and spirit is first order. Or in other words, experience. We have to experience something before we can label it, turn it into knowledge, share that knowledge, and then everyone operate and communicate to form a social fabric and civilization. And so if skills aren't linked with human psychology or universal patterns, then they don't make money. And if they don't make money, like Photoshop art, for example, which isn't inherently persuasive, or it doesn't necessarily communicate the value of something that people desire in order to give you money in the form of value that you want, then you need to stack skills. You need to stack the skill that we're going to talk about in this video onto the other skills that you have right now that you want to monetize. And so at the base of all human behavior, including people pulling out their credit cards to pay you, are three things. The first is survival, which is the desire to replicate information in your genes and consciousness, both physical and mental. Second is evolution, so the desire to outpace destruction through creation. And the third is transformation, so the desire to achieve a higher quality of experience. These are all fairly similar, and we're going to consider them synonymous for the rest of this video. So storytelling, games, music, architecture, anything that is created also mimics these patterns because, as I said, everything that we create is that of being from reality. And so you can observe and dissect these patterns in these things. We're getting a bit like off topic here, but I just want to paint this picture and show you how deep this actually runs. So in the simplest way that I can explain it and package it up into a framework, this whole human behavior framework is purpose, path, priority. So the first is purpose, and behavior change starts with becoming aware of a problem and then a goal revealing itself in order to overcome it. So a transformation. Goal equals purpose, purpose equals desire, desire equals how problems come into existence. Like how a story opens a curiosity loop by implying or directly stating that there is a problem that hooks your attention in order to read through the story and follow the highs and lows that also reflect in something like architecture when you're creating the grooves or designing an image or something like that. And that hooks your attention to read and figure out what the transformation is and what the solution was to create that transformation that people want in their lives. That's what engages our mind with reality and how we communicate with others. And so it's also how people start a landing page or a YouTube video or any form of content. There's always a problem that is implied, stated, and then amplified in order to hook and grab attention to lead into a solution. And it reflects in your personal life as well, where once you become very aware of a problem in your life and how it is spreading and impacting other areas of your life, you get fed up with it once you become conscious of it, and then you work to overcome it to create a transformation for yourself. So the lesson here is by shining a light and making people aware of their problems, you create purpose, not only in yourself, but in others. So the second thing is the path. So when a problem is identified or someone is made aware of the problem, they need clarity on how to overcome it, right? Because if you just make someone aware of a problem, then they don't know how to overcome it, or it's not that important to them, or there is no clarity, which we've talked about many times before, where you need to order consciousness through structured information, or else chaos ensues, overwhelm, overthinking, anxiety. We don't want to cause that in our customers, so we create a path that we can illustrate in our content or our products in order to bridge the gap between the problem they're facing and the transformation that they're trying to acquire. And so the third thing is priority, because all of this, problems are determined by perceived importance, right? A problem to your friend may not be a problem to you, or it may not be an important problem to you. And so this is why it's important that we frame what we're talking about here from the right perspective. Because if a problem isn't important to an individual, or you are writing content or creating a product or something else, and the problem just doesn't register with them, it's not important, it doesn't hit because you aren't speaking their language, or like you're just off, like you didn't do your market research, then it's not going to catch their attention and you aren't going to make any money. And so humans perceive problems from the lens of their identity. And this is why it's important that you target a customer avatar or create one. And this is also why I like to take the route of turning yourself into the customer avatar and marketing to your past self and attracting the people that are like you, see the most profitable niche is you video, because that's a lot easier to do. And it's more fulfilling to do because you already have it all in your head. You don't have to work with someone you hate in order to make money. You just market towards your past self and the identity associated with that, because you know that perspective best, because identity and perspective are very closely linked. And so your perspective on things that forms the foundation of your content, your writing, your products, whatever you create, and the people you attract to create a shared perspective. And perspective is very goal and vision oriented. So you are leading people towards a goal or vision and attracting people to that through your content, and therefore able to market your products better towards them. And then it just creates a holistic business model that you truly enjoy doing. Because think about it, like if you're trying to make a gamer aware of a problem, like a health problem, and they already have all of these preset beliefs and they're identified with being a gamer and drinking Mountain Dew or G Fuel and all this other stuff, and you're coming in and you're like, hey, you're unhealthy, they're just gonna be like, oh no, you're an idiot. Like, you know how gamers are, they're very like closed-minded and frankly idiotic in most cases. There are some open-minded ones, but you know what I'm talking about. You have to position the product in a very specific way to speak to that person. You have to understand your customer is what I'm saying here. And so, by the way, this is the same framework that I used in how to take back control of your life, that video, because it's the same. It's the same thing for changing your life and changing other people's lives. This is a universal principle of value creation for yourself and others. Okay, so now let's talk about the value creation framework, because we just talked about purpose, path, priority, and we have a lot to go over here. This is going to be a long video, but it will be worth your time. So in the things that we list off going on here, there's going to be like 8 things that we list off. Treat all of these as marketing firepower or marketing Legos. These are pieces that you can use in your landing pages, sales pages, opt-in pages, website, content, brand, bio, everything, because you have to capture, hold, and deliver value on the attention you captured. And so these that we're going to talk about are the steps from turning dirt into gold, because marketing is perception. No, it doesn't matter how good your product is, it matters about how important and valuable that product is perceived by other people. And so these 8 steps are what is going to help you illustrate that perceived value. And so these are the steps that when I applied them to my business and kind of had that aha moment, this is what I need to do, this is what brought my business to $1 million plus, closing in on $2 million in revenue in the past 3 years. And so we're going to assume that you are learning this in order to create an offer or create a better offer or promote a product that you already have. If you don't, check out my previous one-person business model video in and of itself, the series, and the best business model to make 1 million in like 2023 or something like that. And you have a $100,000 product in your head. I've made a ton of videos on these. So the first thing that you need to understand is levels of awareness. You need to understand the problem. The problem is the first thing that we're trying to identify here, and you have to be able to illustrate that problem to the people that you're talking to in your content and product. And so also note that these overlap with the 9 stages of ego development. Watch the video by actualize.org if you want to understand yourself better. And it also overlaps with spiral dynamics, the spiral dynamic stages in philosophy. So the first level of awareness is unaware. They're unaware of a problem in their life. And this is where most viral YouTube videos, Instagram, all content, this is how people are positioning it, is from the unaware stage of people's problems. So you want to write and speak to people and show them how a problem is impacting their life to make them aware of it. So if you're trying to help someone get fit, you may point out that a lack of proper nutrition or a certain way of eating is contributing to the grogginess or feeling tired or low energy that they are feeling. So a tweet that I would write: you're always tired because you stuff your face with Hot Pockets, Uber Eats, and foods that lead to nutrient deficiency. So it's a bit harsh, but yes, that's my style. So level 2, the second level of awareness, is that your readers are aware of their problem, but they may not understand it, or they aren't aware of a potential solution, so they aren't acting on it. So a post I would write here is: if you're tired all the time, weigh yourself every morning, eat your body weight in protein, drink water until you pee clear, walk 10,000 steps a day, thank me later when you feel so good that you hate the thought of ruining that feeling with junk food. And so in long form content, you can both illustrate the problem and provide a solution. You can walk through multiple stage levels of awareness here. But with short form content, like a tweet or a short or a reel or just an Instagram post or something like that, you're usually going to be targeting level 1 through 3 in order to generate the most attention and capture the most of your audience, because 95% of the market are beginners. So with short form content, you don't want to be too high level or clever. Save that for long form so that you can present an entire argument, introduce them to the problem, make them aware of it, provide a solution, and help encourage them to act. So level 3 is solution aware. They're aware of a solution or your solution, and you just need to put it in front of them, or you need to put the solution in front of them, like give them steps to overcome their problem. And so level 4 is product aware, where people are aware of your solution and other solutions on the market. And so your job in this level of awareness, and understand that everyone is in a specific level of awareness at any time when they are interacting online, right? Whether it be when they go to your profile. So when they're looking at your bio, which level of awareness are you targeting? Is it too high level? Or is it too broad? And then when they click on your website, what's the level of awareness they're at now? When they go through your emails, what level of awareness are they at? When they're looking at your content, which level of awareness are you targeting? And so in this stage, your job is to present a reason or an argument for why your solution is better than those on the market. And benefits-rich language is key here. So here's a post I would write: why you should start intermittent fasting. Morning focus is insane. You don't have to plan morning food. Lunch and dinner can be massive meals. And I could finish this, but you get the point, and this is already getting very long. But you can see how intermittent fasting is more of a novel solution for a specific person that has a specific lifestyle, where you can provide the benefits to that and how it will impact their energy levels and everything like that. And so level 5 is that they are most aware of their problems, and they're aware of the solutions on the market, and they're aware of your solution. They're sold on it. All they need is some form of an incentive or to have a promotion placed in front of them, or it's like that final barrier where they're tipped over the top. And so you can use like a limited time sale or some other scarcity tactic here, but you just be careful with those. So we got through the levels of awareness. That was like the longest one of these, but the second is positioning. So here are the 8 human desires, which we will talk about, but this is a cool little graphic that you can look at. So now that we understand the levels of awareness, we can begin to craft a persuasive message. And so, by the way, a lot of this is from Digital Economics, my masterclass for productizing yourself. So if you want a Notion template to actually walk you through crafting this content, product, promotions, and all of that stuff and creating your brand, then I would check that out. Links in the description. And so we've discussed the eternal markets many times before, which are health, wealth, relationships, but we're going to take it a bit deeper here. So there are 8 human desires that are impossible to ignore, and all of your content, all of your copywriting, all of your sales pages, landing pages, and whatever must be framed from a problem residing in one of these, right? You have to find a problem and then attack it from a specific angle. This is positioning or creating an angle in marketing. So this is how you start or frame what you are going to write or speak about. So the 8 human desires are survival, life enjoyment, freedom from fear, sexual companionship, comfort and clarity, perceived status, safety of community, and social acceptance. So you want to educate people on the problems they're facing in one of these domains relating to your product or service. So if you're selling like a make money online product, you can take the status angle and be like, oh, I live this fancy lifestyle and I have this rich car, and then people want that. So you catch attention, and then you can create an argument around that. Once it's framed from that, it's much easier to write. Or you can go from the life enjoyment angle, which is a bit less scammy, where if I'm teaching a skill, I can be like, here's how the quality of your life is going to increase from learning this skill. And that's how you start or frame your persuasive message. And so I would encourage you to think about the product or service that either you sell or is being sold. Like you can think of my products if you don't have a product. So 2-Hour Writer, me teaching writing and content and branding. How can you frame that through survival, life enjoyment? Like survival, you need skills in order to survive in the modern world. You need high value skills in order to make a specific income. And then if you wanted to, you could even frame this under like sexual companionship, where it's like, here's what you do. You have to learn how to write. You need to build a brand for yourself. And then you, from that place of social authority with a lot of followers, get to DM the man or woman that you want and have that leverage over the people that don't have many followers. You could do it that way. It's not the smartest way to like write your copy, but you could. And so the thing with this is notice how every single person's niche is self-improvement or self-actualization, right? That's the broad niche where you can break it down into the topics that you talk about within the health, wealth, relationships, and markets. But I'm just saying this to prove that my theory still holds true, which is to solve your own problems, document the solution online, and improve others to raise the collective consciousness. It still holds true. So now on to number 3, which is the big problem. So now we have levels of awareness and positioning, and now we need, from those two, we need to identify a big problem that we can start our writing, speaking, or creations off with. So our content, products, promotions, whatever it may be. What is the big problem from the level of awareness that people are sitting in? So dependent on where you're writing the content, and then whatever angle you choose to go from. So like life enjoyment, what's a big problem relating to that? So from level 1, the unaware stage and the perceived status angle, I can identify a big problem like not having a 6-figure income. And then I can agitate that problem as to why a 6-figure income is impacting the rest of their life. It's impacting how, like, who they can actually get a date with. It's impacting what kind of location they can live in. It's impacting possibly their ability to pay their bills comfortably. That also crosses over with the survival angle, and how the world naturally lacks a level of respect for them. I don't know if this is true. We're painting a picture here. And so is this shallow? Yes, welcome to human life. Depth comes after you solve the shallow problems in your life and others. You have to raise people beyond the surface level problems that they have, but you can't just let them skip that. They have to solve those things in order to reach that place of depth. Because frankly, nobody cares about mindfulness or existentialism or spirituality when they can't pay their bills. Like, if the entirety of their mind is narrow, stressed, and focused on paying the bills and trying to get a girlfriend like 18-year-olds do, and all of this other shit, you have to work them beyond that. And you can't just ignore the shallow, superficial, because these are the stages of development that you have to raise people up, right? Your ego has to develop. Now, the fourth thing after the big problem. See, this is where we're getting into purpose, path, priority. We have the problem, and now we need the path or the solution. So the fourth thing is a unique mechanism, because you need a solution that stands out from everyone else's. And again, this is why I always recommend figuring it out for yourself, right? Solving your own problems in a unique way and going through the trial and error that makes you an expert on that problem that you are solving, so that you can help people solve it from a unique way. Because if you just take exactly what someone else is doing, I'm not saying not to do this, but if you just take exactly what someone else is doing and package it up as your own, not only are you not going to be able to teach that, but it's not going to be unique in any way. You don't have the experience to make it unique. So you take from multiple sources in order to solve your own problems. And then through experience, you can come back and reflect and create a solution on your own. And so this is like how Greg O'Gallagher combined intermittent fasting and reverse pyramid training to create a training program that fit his lifestyle perfectly, and he understood like the back of his hand and how it impacted his life, so that he could market it in a great way. And he definitely took the perceived status angle by, at the beginning, he was like flexing Lamborghinis and hot women and all of this stuff, but he's going down different angles now, and that's just how things work. He changed my life for the better, and I didn't really care about the Lambos or that, but I like his training philosophy. And so you have to think about how you would solve the big problem step by step, and then create that on your own. So I like to think about it from the lens of a book, right? The book, if you were to have an end goal and a problem at the start, how would you fill that in? What are the chapters and the sub-chapters? And then how are you going to write and deliver on that? So after that, then you slap a compelling name on it, and my 2-hour writer or my 2-hour content ecosystem inside the 2-hour writer is an example of that. You can understand everything that we're talking about here by just looking at that landing page. Now, the fifth thing is bullet spray benefits. So if you've ever started copywriting, you're starting to see where I'm getting at with all of this and how a persuasive argument is formed. But once you have the big problem and the unique mechanism to overcome it for that is your product or service, then you need to help people understand why it is applicable and relatable to their lives and how it will benefit their lives. So my favorite way to do this is by bullet points, right? Just bullet point benefits, bullet spray them with it. Because when you give a bullet point list, rather than just like not making it very clear as to how it's going to benefit their life, it's like a list tweet, right? A list tweet is like 5 steps to a better life. Go on a walk, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 bullet points. And when people read through that, they may not agree with the first one. They may not resonate with the second one, but the third bullet point, they're like, oh yeah, I love that. I'm going to like and retweet. And so it's the same thing with the bullet spray benefits. You list as many compelling benefits as there are or as you can, and just one of those may be the reason that they buy. So now the 6th step in value creation is proof. So a lot of people talk about social proof or testimonials, and those are important, but many people don't have those at the beginning. And when you don't have those, of course, it should be your full-time job to get those from the people that buy your products or services. But a lot of people get afraid to sell something because they don't have social proof or testimonials. But what you do have is personal experience, and you have the personal experience of others in the form of statistics and anecdotes that you can research and find online to form your compelling argument in your writing. And so this is why I start 90% of my videos or newsletters with a personal experience that illustrates the problem, and then I can talk about my story and how I overcame it, right? Everyone's first product can just be something that they created for themselves, and they talk about their personal experience, the problem they were facing, and how they overcame it. And then once they get testimonials, they can just add that to the landing page and you're fine. You may make less sales at the beginning, and that's fine. It's all a progression. So the 7th step to value creation is the big idea. And what a big idea is it's pretty much like, I like to think of it as a 1-sentence summary of everything else that we just listed. So it's a 1-sentence summary that illustrates the value of what you're providing. So the most popular quotes are very big ideas. The content that you like so much are very big ideas. The parts of this video that caught your attention and caused excitement in you are big ideas, right? I talk about how I hunt for big ideas in the last video that got abysmal views for some reason. That sucks, because it's, why do all of the most important and most valuable videos just like not get many views? If you want something, go watch the last video, which is on reading how to stop forgetting everything you read. Watch it all the way through. I promise it'll change everything you think about content creation and reading in general, because big ideas are found by hunting for them and making them your own, right? All of my newsletters and everything, I keep a database of big ideas. When I'm scrolling Twitter and a tweet sticks out to me, I copy paste that into Notion. When I read something in a book, I highlight it, and then Notion, connected to Readwise, uploads it to Notion, and I can refer to those at any time, right? You need a place to capture ideas, because then you use those ideas and sprinkle them throughout your newsletters and landing pages. And so some examples of like common big ideas are that Bitcoin is the digital currency of the future, or that Uber is the modern taxi service, or that ChatGPT is fucking everything. And so this can overlap with or be any of the points you listed out recently, like the big problem or the unique mechanism's name. And then the 8th and final step of value creation is a risk reversal and end result, right? Because you have the problem that is positioned towards a specific level of awareness, and then you have the unique mechanism or your solution for overcoming it. You have the benefits associated with that, but what's the clear outcome, and what's on the line if they do not reach that clear outcome, right? What is the desirable end result here? And so a compelling risk reversal is what's going to help you close the most deals at the beginning of your journey. And most people opt for like a money back guarantee, which is cool, but you can spice it up quite a bit. You can get creative with it and really do anything you want if you play back and forth between like the desirable end result and the risk reversal associated with that. So an example when selling something like a dating product is that if you don't land 5 dates in 60 days, then we refund your money, right? That's a desirable end result, 5 dates and a risk reversal. If you don't get those 5 dates in 60 days, then you get your money back. Why would you not buy that? And that puts pressure on you to deliver, especially if you're a beginner. It doesn't matter if you haven't gotten those results before. That's why you're refunding their money if you can't achieve it. And that's what puts pressure. That's what makes you actually act. That's what makes you try to deliver. And through trying your hardest to make that work, you realize what's actually possible. And then the next time you come back from a better iteration, and then it slowly gets better and better with time. And of course, here you can add caveats to your risk reversal in your landing page or whatever it may be, right? You can say, we will give you your money back, but only if you execute and can prove that you executed on every single action here. So then you think about it and it's like, okay, well, maybe they have to get their number and then land the 5 dates, right? And so then they can send you screenshots of the text that they're sending back and forth between them. And then if your methods just didn't work out, then they refund the money. But if they actually execute on everything you said, then it's almost impossible for them to fail. So it's a win-win for both people, where the pressure is put on you to deliver and the pressure is put on them to actually act on what they purchase, because most people don't do that. So now that was it, but I want to reiterate that you want to treat each of those 8 things as marketing Legos in everything you use. And you have to practice at every single moment to get good at this. Watching this video is not enough. Watching anything or reading anything is not enough. You have to start a project, encounter real world problems, and let reality teach you what watching this video can't. Because there are thousands of minor nuances that you will pick up consciously and subconsciously as you are making progress. And none of those nuances can be illustrated to you in a course, content, or like a book. So here are a few places where you can use these pieces for your value creation. The first is social media posts. So in long form content, it usually follows the format of illustrating a problem, agitating the problem, giving context and raising them up the level of awareness, right? So making them aware of the problem in their life and how it's impacting their life. So that's agitating the problem. And then giving actionable steps to overcome that problem. So you're giving them a solution, so they're solution aware, and then incorporate a bullet spray list of benefits, or just incorporate benefits so that they are encouraged to implement it into their life, and then use the big idea of all of that as your headline, title, or whatever it may be, right? The one person business is not only a unique mechanism, but it is a big idea that are my most popular YouTube videos. So long form content can walk people through all levels of awareness, right? So for engagement, you usually target 1 through 3. So you start with a problem that people are unaware of, you make them aware of it, you agitate the problem or make them aware of it more, and then you provide a solution. And that's pretty much it. It's usually problem, solution, that's content. But for sales, right, you usually go from 2 to 5. So you're targeting a more specific person that is aware of their problem. You illustrate why that problem is impacting their life and why they need to change their life. And then slowly through the end, you introduce them to your product and provide an incentive for them to act on it. And so short form content is it's limited to less. It's usually limited to 1 or 2 or 3 of these things at a time, where like the big idea can be a tweet in itself, or the problem and the big idea, or the problem and unique mechanism, or the steps that forms like a tweet, an Instagram post, a reel, whatever it may be. And so that was just social media content, but this can also obviously be used on a landing page or a sales page. And so the best way to practice this is to take this video with those 8 steps and pair it with copywriting frameworks like PASTOR, which is problem, amplify, story, testimony, offer, and response. You can just Google these things, or AIDA, which is attention, interest, desire, and action, or PASS, which is problem, amplify, and solution. And then you get better with time by using those frameworks and structuring all of the 8 things that we talked about here within those frameworks. And so on a landing page or a sales page, for the headline and subheadline, or everything above the fold, right, the very first part of the website is where you're trying to fit and summarize all 8 of these value creation steps. And so the next place you can use them is a course curriculum, right? Because you don't want to just stop being persuasive once you get into a course. You want you want to capture attention in each module. You want to walk them through, give them steps to overcoming the problem that is presented in each section. And that's how you get them to act, right? And then the last place is just an everyday conversation, right? When you're talking to someone, practice this. Start with a problem that you're facing and then let the conversation carry on from there. That's how you articulate your points. This is articulation more than it is just marketing. And so that is it for this video. This is extremely fucking powerful if you actually use what we talked about here and practice it. That's the key. So let me know what you thought of this. Let me know if you thought it was valuable in the comments. Make sure you like while you're there, subscribe. Digital economics is the masterclass, links in the description, where I break down much more than this. This is just a part of digital economics. 2-Hour Writer is also very useful if you want to build a brand, build a following, and learn how to write persuasive digital content. And then Modern Mastery is just a community that you can join for $5 with 180 plus strategies on business and life. And with that, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.